guys, welcome to my YouTube channel called Asghar, and this is going to be my first ever official YouTube video. Well, talking about my first video, it's not going to be like a classic introduction, but rather a premise into what my videos will be like. Talking about my type of videos, I really want the audience who's viewing my videos to know if this is a video that they should watch or not. Uh, Unfortunately, you won't see me doing any funny antiques on, me giving you any scientific knowledge over here. But for the first impression, you may find it very dry, boring, and, very philosophical. Um, to sum it up, it's a channel that might not appeal to your eyes, but it's going to be really appealing to your heart. When I say that, I mean it's going to be a channel which will connect to your hearts, because I believe that there's so many people out there who unfortunately don't have a person who they can share whatever's going inside them, the issues that they're going through. Like a friend, a parent, a guardian, like any loved one for that matter. It's that all that they're going through is building up in them. And, when I think about these issues, I feel that, you always need somebody to vent it out on them. Somebody who you can discuss these issues with, and, somebody you know, who can just simply relate to you, a person who understands the position that you are in. And I believe that this is what this channel is really about. Knowing what's happening in our society all the time, I believe that it's really important to discuss issues which are knowingly, ignored by many people. Issues which are not ready to be heard to. Issues which we are not ready to share with anyone because we feel that nobody will understand us. Issues which, are so evident but yet not so clear as well. So, when I talk about this, I just simply mean that, all the people out there must have faced it in some time in their life when they felt that nobody was there to understand them, to understand what was happening exactly inside them, and give them a perspective for a solution which was like their inner voice. And I believe that this is what this channel will be about. Now, this is just an introduction, or more or less like a brief description of what the channel is really. But let's discuss the videos that this channel will broadcast. So, talking about the videos, this is how it will work. Every time I'll upload a video, it will discuss a very specific issue which I believe is a very evident one, and I'll discuss it with examples. Maybe you'll find your story in it. For the first video, I'm planning on to discuss it as my story, a story which I have gone through, and I believe that I might be able to relate to many people out there. See, I know that it's really, impossible to believe that, a person who's a complete stranger can understand you. But believe me, sometimes strangers understand you more than the people you know. And, all these issues which I'll be discussing for the first few videos are what I have gone through. And believe me, during all this time, I had no one who I could share my issues to. So, all this while, because I had nobody to discuss these issues with, they were all building in me like a volcano. And, like a volcano, I did erupt one day, and it all worked in my harm. Because instead of being like a violent and problematic kid for people around me, I was just stressing myself. Because at the end of the day, in full honesty, you do need people to vent out your issues on, somebody who can understand your issues, so that they can give you a solution which you can stick up to, a solution which sounds like your own, decision which doesn't make you regret later. It's very typical of us to think that we need a person to be physically there with us to, understand the issue and to consider the situation at hand and then give a solution accordingly. But I believe that if we can connect with anybody who's going through a similar problem, and maybe perspective which sounds like our own, we just are able to vent ourselves out. Because I believe also, finding a solution for your problems online helps you to exactly understand which person has gone through a similar problem and which story seems similar to yours. it gives you quite many options as well. So, I believe that this platform is just going to be me discussing all the issues that's been happening all around us. And with those issues, it's becoming so common for people to face them. So, maybe in all the stories that I share under a particular issue, you may be able to relate to them. And maybe you'll get a perspective which might help you come out of that problem. So, let's discuss a very classic one today, depression. Well, when I talk about depression, I want to firstly address the issue where depression has now become another term for day to day sadness. Well, it's very, very different than that because sadness is an emotion and depression is a disease, and disease are often not related with emotions. This disease is so overpowering that it makes you lose your senses, and in a way that you just can't get hold of yourself, and it's just not temporary. You need a proper cure for you to help you get out of it. So, depression. Now, let's start with a story which is of mine, and let's discuss what made me get out of it. Now, uh, I chose this as the topic for the first video because this is an issue which is very close to my heart. It's what I went through last year. Okay, so before last year, May 2020, for me, depression was like, uh, just because somebody has said something bad to me and me being overwhelmed by their words, I just used to cry it out and used to be like that. I just want to end my life, and I'm feeling so depressed today. Don't talk to me, and maybe somebody has done something wrong to me, or maybe if I've hurt somebody, I'll just be feeling so sad for 2 to 3 days and then be like, it was just a depressing period. Or maybe if I didn't get good grades, or if a teacher had favored another student over me, all these simple day-to-day problems that we face. And the last year's May that I really realized what depression is, because initially it was so much fun, having some time off from studies and school vacations and a lot of fun. But it was just when Ramadan was about to come that a comment made by a person really messed up my life. To be really excited, it was my servant. Now, the comment wasn't really demeaning or was insulting in any way, but it's just to discuss that how sometimes the most petty issues can be a reason to cause something so big. Well, the issue was the real problem. Now let's discuss that. Now, what exactly happened was when my servant made that comment, I just got into thinking about that comment a lot. Also, because it was, lockdown, and I was really overthinking those days because I didn't really have, any place to refresh myself. Having people around me, I, getting into daily fights was so common that, life was not on a smooth path. It was all about, problems and fights and whatnot, because at the end of the day we do need personal space, and that's tip number one. Everybody needs personal space, and when you don't have it, this is what it leads up to. Second, the issue of ego, because the comment made by him was just another statement, and I had gone into overthinking it so much that it had really stressed me. uh, to a point where I was thinking that I am so supreme and so powerful that there's nobody in position to challenge it and pass on such a statement. Well, when I even think about it, it makes me think how foolish of it was to me. But it happens. It's a phase that we all go through. Sometimes what's happening in our environment makes us so frustrated that even a single comment, which you know it's just so normal, can make us think that it's an insult, somebody is ridiculing us. So that's what exactly happened with me, and then it had become so overpowering on me, this feeling that I completely lost control of myself, and to a point where I was overthinking so much that I'd gotten into some sort of a delusional world for that period of time. I was so zoned out. Uh, so, firstly, I like to give an advice on this issue that start accepting what's happening. You need to don't run away. You need to accept that what's happening is a phase which needs to be dealt to. So yeah, first accept it, because sometimes people just fail to accept that something's wrong. Firstly, you need to do that. You need to accept that there's something wrong. And that comes with the realization that your actions are wrong. You need to think what's happening around. You need to find out, sit down one day, cry yourself out, and realize where the issue is coming from. What's becoming this point of contention as a problem in your life, and you need to understand it. That if this is the issue, this needs proper resolution to it. Like in my case, for example, it was coming from the environment I was living in. It was coming from the thoughts that I had just built up and were needing a proper outlet, uh, a process which could have just let me express all that I was going through, and then just heal myself up with some sort of refreshed atmosphere. So all that was happening, that frustration, if all my feelings could have gotten an outpour, and could have gotten a way that they could have been released in an environment where only happiness was my destination. So sure, it would have been so good for me and for the general depression that I was going through. So that's just a piece of advice that I like to say, that sometimes just sit yourself down, think what's going wrong, because no therapy, no medicine works until you don't accept that something's wrong in you, something wrong's in the environment that you are in. And it's it's the best thing about diseases like depression is that they have a solution in the problem itself. So just sit down and reconsider what's happening in your life, and what made that problem start in the first place. Because I believe all these issues stem in from one problem, and if you find a solution to that problem, you automatically live a very peaceful life indeed. Because taking medicines and therapy is just like a temporary cure to a disease, and there's always a chance that you can develop it again. So it's always better that other than taking this temporary treatment, because that's also really important, find a permanent solution for a happy and a peaceful life. And just on a day-to-day basis as well, just reflect on what's happening in your life, where are you going wrong, and trying to do better on them. And just simply you know just try to reflect all your actions and try to improve those which you think are wrong. So lastly, I'll just like to conclude on saying that live your life in peace, because I mean, we're here on this planet Earth for like a very short time before we're supposed to enter our eternal world. And the point is that this life is supposed to be challenging. It's supposed to be like a roller coaster ride, and it's on us how we live it, because you're only going to get it once, right? You don't want to reflect on your life and say, 20, 30 years down the lane, you think that oh, it was all just spent in sadness and in grief, and in a lot of problems. So try to fix them, because uh, believe me, this life is very short, and we need to make the most out of it. Also, I believe that just take out some self time, and uh, just spend some time with yourself to realize what's happening, and where's life going, and what's happening all around you, so that you can catch up with the world. Because for sometimes to catch up with the world, it's very important that you know uh, some sort, you get some isolation from it, and get alone for some time, and just get away from that hustle and bustle, and just catch up on the spiritual world as well. It's really important. And just would love to say goodbye by saying that self-love is very important habit. It's not like being selfish. It's just like an emotion that makes you confident, and confidence is something which is needed in every step of our life. And to make ourselves confident, it's important that we love ourselves, because nobody's gonna love you the way you love yourselves. Everybody say they love you, everybody, but nobody can love you like yourself, because we're, believe it or not, we're all coexisting in this world for our own benefits, and nobody is as truthful to oneself as one is to one own self. So you know just stay true to yourself, and just do what your heart says, and make sure that when you reflect on your actions, you're sure that your heart is going for the right path. So make your heart and your brain work together in the perfectly fine way. Okay, so yeah, that's it. It's the end of the first video. Seeing the response for this, I'll make another video soon, and this time I'll share your story. So I'll love if you can comment down your stories, or basically uh, the issues that you like me to speak upon. So why not? I love to hear from you guys. And yeah, I'll also mention my Instagram page. It's called The Harsh Realities of Life. So you can DM me, and you can tell me if you want your story to be shared without without your name being displayed, like you being anonymous. So yeah, basically that. And yeah, okay, goodbye till then.